Actually, I will be presenting a European-funded project, which is a Jean Monnet action. And then I have drafted maybe a list of, let's say, possible interesting research items for you, since you are all blockchain researchers. And maybe just to share with you some, let's say, thoughts I have, since I am also a blockchain researcher. And to be honest, I have been in this domain for more than a decade now. So during the early years of Bitcoin, etc. Okay. So I am the scientific coordinator of the Euroblock, which is, as I said, a project funded by the European Commission under the Erasmus Jean Monnet program. And actually the main idea was to establish a new program which will bring to the educational system all the info relevant to blockchain technology. And this is among the first programs to do so. So we have chosen three main domains within the overall management domain with respect to the usage of blockchain technology. So we have proposed lectures relevant to the usage of the technology in the healthcare sector, in the supply chain management sector, and in the public management sector, which obviously it's of interest for you. The main idea also behind this project was to familiarize students with all the hype relevant to the Industry 4 technologies, because blockchain is also a foundational technology of the fourth industrial revolution. So we would like to bring to as many as students possible this new innovative technology, foster research around the technology, etc. And frankly, it was still actually a very successful program, because during these days we have the third and last call for the classes we are going to provide to our students, and we had something like more than 300 students enrolled in the program, to such extent that we had to shut down the system and not receiving any other applications, which was super interesting for us. And with Vangelis, we are on the same side. We ran the project together. Just to give you some background with respect to the interest of the students for the technology. Okay, so that was the main structure of the program. So this is a three-year funded project. During the first year, we developed material for blockchain applications in the healthcare sector. During the second year, we delivered educational material relevant to supply chain management and blockchain technology. And during this year, which is the third and last year, we will be delivering this blockchain technology for the public sector management. Obviously, this project also aligns with all the relevant EU policies for emerging technologies, and this is why during the courses we also provide our students with all the background relevant to policies and initiatives from the European Commission or from the European Parliament, and how actually blockchain technology aligns with other emerging technologies like AI, etc. That was the main idea behind the project. Some also info with respect to the relevant applications from these three different domains. I don't know how many of you are involved in, for example, in the usage of the technology in the healthcare sector. Do we have any candidate here? No one. Okay. Okay. I'm just asking because the healthcare sector, as I've mentioned earlier, it's super interesting as a use case scenario for the technology, because as like in other domains, obviously, healthcare sector has a huge problem when it comes to privacy and security. And blockchain technology aligns perfectly with all these requirements, although I know that some of you have in mind the GDPR, etc., and the misalignment between the GDPR and some of the technical intricacies of the technology, which I totally agree with you. But still, I believe that blockchain technology, it's the only viable candidate we have in order to solve all these unresolved problems we have in the healthcare sector, especially with respect to information sharing, interoperability, etc. So you can see we have tons of literature produced so far covering aspects like healthcare record management, health data handling, costs, especially because we can develop a lot of applications like smart contracts and therefore bringing down inefficiencies and relevant costs in the healthcare sector. Then the same holds for the supply chain management domain, which is also maybe, at least to my opinion, maybe we could see here most of the applications out there of the technology. For example, a very well-known studied problem has to do with supply chain traceability. Guys, again, this is a super interesting problem because, why? Because, well, as in the healthcare sector, in the supply chain management domain, again, we have a lot of participants. Trust is not always there. You need to have a sound mechanism for information sharing, etc. So we believe that blockchain technology is also a viable solution here, and this is why we have a lot of real-life applications. For example, companies like IBM and Walmart have been working on relevant solutions. For example, there is a very interesting technical solution and commercial solution, actually, established by IBM and Walmart called, it's called Food Trust. Yes?
Yeah, about that specific project, from what I remember, it's on a permission blockchain, so it's a Hyperledger.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So I was wondering the fact that this kind of setup doesn't contradict the initial ideas about blockchain decentralization, and then any supply chain solution we have so far hasn't been permissionless. It's always been done in a way, which at the end of the day, you just come to the question as, so why do we need a blockchain if it's a permission environment between a certain group of people?
This is a stab in my heart now. Well, totally agree. I mean, can you name a truly distributed blockchain application out there? Try harder.
Oh, are we talking about cryptocurrencies?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Not in the
Which
supply
one?
chain. Oh, whoa.
Well, Bitcoin only, I would say. I mean, yeah, the only permissionless blockchain infrastructure we have as a global settlement infrastructure for transaction settlement is the blockchain of the Bitcoin network. We do not know where the nodes are. They are behind firewalls, dark web, VPN structures, etc. We do not know where the protocol runs. So it's truly distributed. But this is just a financial application. I mean, the blockchain of the Bitcoin network is just purely a financial one as an application. And all these applications are non-financial applications. I mean, in this case, when you have to, for example, trace something across a global supply chain network, for example, let's say that you have a cargo traveling from China to Europe, and it's somewhere in the Indian Ocean, whatever, and you have a sensor, an IoT sensor, sending info every minute from this cargo with respect to temperature or, I don't know, whatever, then you can have you can have a kind of solution like the blockchain of the Bitcoin network to do that. Because, for example, the bandwidth of the blockchain of the Bitcoin network, it's super limited. Okay, so this is why, so I'm trying to respond to your super interesting question. So I think that we need not permissionless, but permissioned infrastructures when we are talking about business and relevant blockchain-related applications. I'm afraid by design we can't have permissionless infrastructures, especially infrastructures that truly scale, because someone would argue that, yeah, but you can use the Ethereum blockchain and relevant DApps to do that. Yeah, okay, try to deploy such an approach in the real world. Good luck with that. I mean, paying gases, etc. every minute. Because, you know, guys, when you call a function within a smart contract somewhere embedded in the blockchain, let's say within the Ethereum blockchain, you have to pay each time the relevant fee. Okay, this is super costly. Okay, you cannot, that's why I believe that we cannot have scalable solutions with permissionless blockchain infrastructures. Or at least that's what I believe. So, going back, we have all these benefits with respect to the usage of blockchain technology within the supply chain management domain, transparency, information sharing, obviously better coordination and collaboration, which is super important in the supply chain sector, etc. And as I've said, maybe traceability, it's a well-known use case scenario within the supply chain management domain. This is a typical example for supply chain traceability for the rice supply chain, which is also very interesting because here we have food practically, and we are super interested in the security and safety actually behind these food supply chains, okay, like for example the rice supply chain. So we would like to have all the participants, all the stakeholders aboard on the same page, for example, have everybody sharing info, obviously using a blockchain infrastructure, okay. And the third comes from the public sector management. Again, here we also have a lot of interesting applications, especially for improving all the, well, how to put it, the bureaucratic / administrative inefficiencies we witness when it comes to public bodies. So yeah, using smart contracts, we could obviously automate a lot of things for the public sector management. And I would like to just share with you some very useful use cases within the public sector management. For example, all these bullets are coming from the literature. So we have better procurement management. We could use blockchain for identity management. I guess you are already familiar with this. Healthcare records management. Very interesting is the education and credentialing item. For example, we have a lot of, at least, initiatives out there, a lot of universities trying to upload on a blockchain infrastructure all the credentials, all the students' credentials, and therefore create a kind of pool for information sharing among different universities and, of course, with the state. Okay, and of course, registries and property rights management, etc. So, enough with this project. I just wanted to bring to your attention 2-3 points. Just a quick question. How many of you have read the white paper of the Bitcoin network? Okay, great. Do you remember how Satoshi Nakamoto referred to the blockchain in the white paper? It was time chain, guys. It wasn't blockchain. The first keyword, let's say, describing what we have been discussing all day here, it was referred as time chain, not blockchain, actually. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, if you want to give a contribution through your research, you need to dive into the intricacies and technical particularities of the technology itself. You truly need to understand how the technology works in order to become clear for you how you could apply the technology somewhere, either a managerial domain or you name it. Okay, so I suggest you dive deeply into the technical intricacies of the technology. It's super, super important. Okay, and some other avenues, possible avenues for future research. Maybe you are involved in these domains. For example, I believe blockchain we'll see blockchain solutions within the next year. For example, in the case of finance, especially how we use stable coins. I guess we are all familiar with stable coins. So stable coins are becoming more and more interesting, and since they rely, the underlying technology is again blockchain technology. It's a very super interesting topic, especially from a policy perspective. Another interesting topic has to do with the so-called micropayments or nanopayments. I don't know, have you ever heard of these terms? Are you familiar with micropayments? Okay, it's also an emerging topic, and we're discussing about payments which are, for example, a fraction of the euro, let's say 0.0001 euros, and you can use micropayments within a lot of emerging business models. For example, machine-to-machine payments, or in other words, guess which will be the currency of the future when machines will pay machines. It won't be euro or dollars, or it will be, you know what it will be.
What it needs to.
Well, it should be a kind of, it can only be a crypto, unfortunately, because they do not understand any other native, let's say, monetary instrument. It should be crypto, unfortunately. Yes, that's it. That was my last point. Thank you.